Hello, Margie Family Vlog. Welcome. And welcome, KP Heaven. How are y'all doing? Utah Mike, welcome. Hope all is going well for everybody. Margie, I subscribed your channel. And you now have a standard moderator on my channel. Hope everybody's doing well. 3 in the house, 2 likes. Please leave a like to support the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Hope everybody had a good Monday. I hope the weather is amicable where you're at. It's been a day. Too much paperwork. Too much bureaucracy. Too many meetings. And I guess it is what it is. 4 in the house, 3 likes. Thank you for the like. Hope you're doing well over on your side of the world, Margie. There's about a 13-hour difference between where I'm at in Texas and the Philippines, the time zones. Other side of the world. And 13 hours difference. So right now it is 7 o'clock, a little after 7 o'clock here in Central Time in Victoria, Texas. Slow day for construction. Well, if that's good, I hope it's good. If it's bad, I'm sorry. Hope it gets better. So right now it's about 8 o'clock in the morning over there. 8 o'clock Tuesday. I've been busy. I have not been able to do a lot. I certainly have not done much with my channel. Yesterday I had some conversations, and I will pass on what I've learned, as the Jedi would say, you know, pass on what you've learned. Supposedly, the YouTube AI algorithm likes it when you release your videos and your shorts about 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. Supposedly, I'm told. So last night, yesterday, I set a short to release at 11 p.m. And that short has done pretty good today. It had done pretty good today. And I hadn't released anything else. I will try to release a couple of more and schedule them to release 10:45, 11 o'clock this evening. And hopefully, hello, Uncle Al, Die Bullfrog 79, and hopefully they will do well, and hopefully the algorithm will be kind to me. 4 in the house, 4 likes. Melinda Elliott, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for thumb number 5. So as I was saying, I had received some advice that the YouTube algorithm would be kinder over a period of time if I would release my shorts in the evening at 10:30, 10:45, 11 o'clock. You know, if I would release my shorts and just set my shorts to release at that time. And I know people that put out a lot of material, and they will release stuff a month out. They're constantly making stuff, and they'll release it a month out. They'll schedule it to a month out to release. Hello, Bud Files. And I thought, man, that's a little obsessive to me. To be releasing stuff out a month out, ahead of it coming out. I mean, I've done premieres where I had something ready over the weekend and I released it the following, like Wednesday, like I wanted to release. I wasn't planning on doing a live stream that Wednesday, which Wednesday is usually like a meeting day after school, so it's late night. So there are times when I wouldn't do a live stream on Wednesday, so I would schedule my premiere when I would normally do a live stream on Wednesday, so people who come in would get to see a 10 or 15-minute video as a premiere, so they could talk and leave comments and, back and forth. It'd be just like me doing a live stream. And I would do that out 4 or 5 days out, ahead of time. But that's about most I've ever done as far as scheduling stuff. Yes, I remember you sent me a text message about that. The Malibu was gone. Do you have any details, Uncle Al? I heard that the death toll had risen to like 25 or 26 confirmed deaths, and that they're still arresting people. Hello, Rachel. I'm told they're still arresting people for looting. You know, I was looking at a clip, and apparently they had arrested somebody for arson. They had set fire in a trash can or something with a little torch, and they were released after several hours. So they were back on the street. And that's one of the problems. You know, they catch people or they arrest people for crimes or for fairly serious crimes, or, you know, they do stuff, and then they have these no bails where they release them, you know, so they can go back and do more damage or do more, you know, steal more stuff or whatever. Yoda, my friend, Yoda, Yoda, Yoda. Um, so as I was saying, um, very, very scary. All the fires. I was looking at a clip that's probably, you know, that had been released like maybe 3 hours previously, and it was a news clip from a channel out in California. Um, it was, you know, like one of these television stations out in California, and it was talking about, you know, that there were three fires. One of them is like 95% contained, and there are two more. One of them is like 33% contained, and the other one is like 15% contained. So the fires that are, you know, 15% contained means they got like breaks around a small portion of it, fire breaks and such. And the other one, which was about a third contained, well, you know, that's a little bit better, but still, those fires are not contained. The one's 95% contained is pretty good. Is pretty close to being contained. But then you think about all the damage that was done, and then, you know, the insurance companies. And I was watching a Fox News interview, and they were talking with somebody from the insurance industry, and they were explaining why they had pulled out and they had stopped. They had canceled policies, and they hadn't canceled all policies. They had canceled policies in the area where they were likely to, thick areas where they were likely to have the fires. Other areas of the state that don't have the problems, they didn't cancel those policies. And like they didn't cancel automotive policies, they just canceled home policies. And they said one of the reasons why they did it was California limits the insurance companies from the standpoint of what they can charge. And they're not being allowed to charge enough that makes it worthwhile for them to take the risk. And they are losing money. So I was listening to that. And then the other big thing that I got out of it is that insurance companies will be raising rates in other areas to make up for the money they're losing out in California from these fires. So, like, if you live in Maine, New Hampshire, some of these places where, you know, very little happens, their rates are going to go up. So there are going to be a lot of upset people seeing that I've never had a claim, and then their rates start shooting up. So they're spreading it around. They're spreading the pain around to pay for the damages and such. And you're talking about billions of dollars worth of damages. Enrique Trevino. Well, you ask, what's the topic? I think from what I'm saying, you sort of know what's going on. Little Lone Prepper. Welcome, Little Lone Prepper. Mansing Lepet. Welcome, Mansing Lepet. Thank you for coming. Please feel free to drop your link. However, I think most of the channels that are in here are probably linked to each other right now. Yeah, everybody takes a hit for everything. Well, it breaks my heart you only dropped one short. I only dropped one short. I set one to drop at 11 o'clock last night, and it's done pretty well. It's done pretty good. I could drop some more. I've got some ready. Joseph Moore. Hello, Joseph Moore. Welcome. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You know, one of the things I'm concerned about, and I've talked to people. When I used to be a department manager in a what they call a team lead for Walmart, I retired, and after getting my house remodeled, spent about a year remodeling the house with the wife and a little bit of help from one of my former students. Well, quite a bit of help from one of my former students who helped me. It was basically us doing most of the work. The wife did some to help us. I went to work for Walmart. And I started out part-time. And then they kept giving me more and more hours. And then they made me the department manager, and I was department manager over hardware and in sporting goods. I worked hardware and sporting goods, And then I'd have to do additional stuff, but that was basically where I was responsible. And then I had a couple of part-timers that would come in after I would leave. I'd work like 8 o'clock in the morning till like 5 in the evening, have an hour off for lunch, work an 8-hour day, putting in like a 40-hour week full time. At that time I didn't do that much overtime. I did some, but I didn't do that much overtime. Overtime was time and a half because I was an hourly employee. And then I would talk to people. And I sold a lot of guns. I mean, Walmart is not the way it used to be. They don't sell pistols. They really don't want to sell pistol ammunition. They sell a lot of shotguns. They sell a lot of hunting rifles, lever action rifles, 22 caliber rifles, small stuff, 22 Magnum, 17 HMR. They sell a lot of plinker type, guns. And I would talk to people, and we get to be talking, and then people would want to buy weapons and such. Where are you at? Where are you from? And you get a lot of people moving from up north where it was cold, or you'd have people moving from Illinois, Chicago, people moving from New York, people moving from California, and they're moving here. People moving out of places where it's a lot higher cost of living, a lot higher taxes, a lot more areas that have more crime, just a lot of negatives, and then they move here, and you get to be talking to them and such. My concern, and the concern of a lot of people, is that you get people who are moving from places that are not very you don't want to live. A lot of people moving out of these places. Well, hopefully the people who are moving out of these places are the ones that think sort of like the way we think, the way you or I think, that they're interested in the things that we're interested in. They have the belief system that we have, and when they vote, they're not going to vote crazy. They're not going to want to put crazy people in office. They're not going to want to, you want people to move in that's not going to try to recreate California or recreate Chicago or recreate New York or any of these jacked up places where you don't want to live. Those are not the people you want to move here. You don't want to change your demographics. You don't want to change your voting so that, oh, well, now they're voting like them. And then what do? They turn this place in the same type of, what they call S-hole, where they came from. So I've been talking, I'm looking to see, did anybody else come in? Anybody see anything that I didn't know? I think I pretty much got everybody. Uh, 7 in the house, 9 likes. Please leave a like to support the channel. It will be greatly appreciated. 8 in the house, 10 likes. Well, I appreciate that. We are 24 minutes into the live stream. The topic right now, or the topics right now, we're talking about what's going on out in California. We're talking about the insurance situation. Premiums going up for everybody. Yeah, talking about the weather. Cold. The winter apocalypse. The snow apocalypse. We haven't had snow in Victoria, Texas it's been 8 years since I've had any snow in Victoria, Texas. The year that I retired, that year, which was the last year that I was a school administrator when I retired, we had snow. We had a little bit of snow. And everybody's taking pictures. Everybody's, I got pictures of it. I got some nice pictures of the snow at my school. And the snow outside at the house. Got pictures. And I did a video, about what I learned from the freeze, lessons from the freeze. People with broken pipes, big plumbing bills, damages, water damage, broken pipes. So, we cover our outlets outside. I've got 3, 1, 2, 3 outlets. I got 2 outlets out front, and I got 1 outlet in the back. We put covers over them, foam covers. Inside, we will occasionally, if it gets super, super, super cold, we'll leave the water dripping. Leave the water dripping. And that way, we don't have pipes up in our attic. You had people that, they run the pipes through the attic, and it's up above the insulation, and they're just exposed to whatever the temperature is up there. So you'd have it super, 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 super hard freeze for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, and then before you know it, you got burst pipes. Well, Walmart the Walmart heirs, Sam Walton's kids, who are now in their 70s, the heirs. I believe Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, I believe he died around 1995, if I'm not mistaken. I think he died about 95. And the heirs, they basically just, they're not really actively involved. Like, they're on the board, they own the stock. They're all billionaires. There's 3 or 4 of them. They're all billionaires. Their kids will be billionaires, and they don't have the values that Walton had. That he was I believe he was a Methodist. I think he was a Methodist, and didn't have the religious values. He's probably rolling over in his grave. A lot of the places that the values that they have, the value system, what they will and what they will not do, what they promote, not necessarily the most traditional of values. It is what it is. It is what it is. Well, that's good. Frost-proof spigots. That's good. Idaho Garden Girl, thank you for coming in. Good to see you in the house. That's why you should have pipes drip in a freeze. Yes, that is certainly true, and I was talking about that. You do not want them to freeze over. Good idea. Having hydrants that don't work, pumps that don't work, problems with your pipes, not good. Not good at all. Cutting your budget, cutting your fire budget, cutting your police budget, so you can have money for other questionable uses. You look at some of these cities in these areas that they're diverting money from other services to house, to feed, to they're spending money on non-citizens. Think about that one. Does that chap your butt? Belinda's Country Living. Hello, Belinda. How are you doing, young lady? I'm told, why is there a content warning on your channel? Well, not everybody gets it. You know, most people tell me they don't see no content warning. I mean, I've had people tell me that my volume was muted, or went black for a few seconds or whatever. I don't know. I could put my hand on the scriptures and tell you I take an oath that what I say to the best of my knowledge is the truth. You know, but oftentimes I'm repeating what's being said on the news, or what I heard on the news or on a news station. Could you imagine back in the days when they didn't have all the instant media? Something happened and they'd have to send a reporter out, and they'd go and they interview people, and maybe they'd take a few pictures, and you'd get a newspaper article published a week later in one of these weekly newspapers. They once a week they publish a paper, and you get an article with maybe a picture in it. That's the way the news used to travel back in the days. And now you got instant news. Instant news. And not all of it is completely accurate. They'll put out news that's not necessarily accurate. What the president-elect would refer to as fake news. Fake news. They're the major channels he'd refer to as fake news, putting out fake news. And then they fact check. You know, and then the fact checking isn't necessarily accurate or truthful. They'd fact check something and say, well, that's not true. Or they would claim something that was partially true, the way that they'd voice it. Or they'd take a clip and they'd only play a certain segment of it, which makes it seem one way, but if you listen to the whole clip, it clarifies what the person's intent was, and the intent was not bad. You know. But I probably should be using a laptop. I am using a 10th generation iPad that I purchased brand new 6 months ago, maybe. Um, I'm looking at, so what's this for? Well, this is where I see what's being said. I follow the comments with this right up close because I'm blind. Yeah, if you're trying to sincerely report things that are going on to the best of your knowledge, you're occasionally going to make a mistake. But it's not intentional. You're not like lying on anybody intentionally. And you're trying to uh, um, the old saying goes, like Republicans, like Baptists, eat their own. If they catch you doing something illegal, they'll hang you out. Whereas the more liberal types, they cover for each other. They circle the wagons. I mean, look at Biden. You don't think they knew his cognizant, his mental acuity? You don't think they knew he had um, issues? But they were all claiming nothing wrong with him. He's just getting old. Nothing wrong with him. Good decisions, good mind. He's in charge. In the meantime, he's out eating more ice cream than anybody I've ever seen. I used to get jealous seeing those big old ice cream cones that he'd go into one of these ice cream places and they'd give him one of these waffle cones. It was just almost like, can you hold the thing? It was so big. It was like toppling over. And I was jealous. I want one of those Joe Biden ice cream cones, make me one that size. Um, and he'd come out and the media'd ask, what flavor is it? How's the ice cream? And you got some conservative type and they're over there trying to cut their throat, what all they say. And the questions that they would ask. Are you ready for some hard questions? I want the kind of questions you give Joe Biden. So obviously you got media bias, And you got people that they can't report honestly or they can't be non-partial because they're real biased and they got a hatred. I do not understand what inspires such hatred towards Donald Trump. Before he was president, before he ran for president, he was very popular. And he was a practicing Democrat for years. Most of his life, he was a practicing Democrat. And he would give to Democratic causes and he'd give to Democratic candidates and such. Oh, they loved him. Everybody's up there kissing his butt. But when he decided to come out as a Republican and run as a Republican, as a populist, oh man, all those people, oh, he's racist and he's this and he's misogynist and he's that and all the stuff that they said about him. And they knew it wasn't true, but they said it. Because they're just trying to smear him, trying to slam him, trying to get people to vote the other way. It's like mudslinging. Yep. Food, forest, permaculture, welcome. Welcome. Howie in the house. Please leave a like to support the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. And and I know most of y'all who come in here, well, I will say this. I've written down 15 channels and I've got 12 likes. So there are some people who've come in this evening who have not left me a like. I would appreciate if you would. Oh, I got a little pizza video to load up. I did pizza for my kids today. I was going to do it Friday as a reward, but I had a couple of people absent, so I said I'll wait till Monday, and we did pizza. I had some Supremes, some pepperonis, one that was half pepperoni, half cheese. Got a couple of kids that don't like, they just like cheese. And bought 5 pizzas today. I don't know what to tell you. Some things I don't know what to tell you. I was taught to treat people the way I want to be treated, and I preach that. Treat everyone with respect. Treat people like you would want to be treated. Show them you have home training. Honor your parents. They may have been gone for 30 years, but honor your parents. Demonstrate you had a good upbringing to honor your parents. And I preach that. I preach that at school to the kids. I preach that on my channel. When I used to be part of the Gideon's International Ministry, and I would go speak in churches and such, I'd preach that. And so many people don't live that. Or the old saying goes, walk the walk. If you talk the talk, walk the walk. And there are a lot of people who just can't do that. So sometimes it's depressing. You get depressed. I get depressed. I was thinking about all those poor people out there in California. And yeah, a bunch of them were dummies for who they elected. They were dummies for who they elected. A lot of them, didn't do that, but they're outnumbered. So when you're outnumbered, especially when it comes to an election, majority rule. If majority make poor decisions, well, those who are a little bit brighter, they gotta live with it, or they gotta move. Nine watching, 14 likes. Thank you. Well, and that is true. Who's running things? They were saying that his wife was running things. And then they were saying that Obama was whispering in everybody's ear and basically the staff's ear, and Obama was running things. And that there are 2 or 3 people that have been in the Obama administration that are in there, making decisions, like a little kitchen cabinet going in there to, tell them what to do, it seems. But, things are still developing. They still got fires going out there. They're desperately trying to save as much of Los Angeles as they can. But all these homes are being burned, and all these structures are being burned, and everything. The way the way that the permitting and the way the construction is out there, it takes you about 3 years to build something. It takes about a year to get your permits. And that if they want to rebuild, it'll be years to do it. Years to do it. So where are these people going to live? And you start thinking about, well, they start moving other places. And if these are the people, if these people voted for the people that got things all screwed up, what will that say if they move someplace else and they continue to vote? Unless they've been red pilled, do you want those people moving into your areas, jacking up your area the way their area was jacked up? And you start talking about, well, let's not let them vote. Oh, that's a slippery road. Start saying don't let them vote. Think about that. You start talking about taking away people's rights to vote. That certainly wouldn't go over very well here. Well, nobody wants to move in here. Nobody wants to moving by you. But I certainly would support going back to the way things were in earlier times, when if you were going to vote, you had to pass a literacy test. You had to be a property owner. You had to be somebody of substance and own property and pass the literacy test. And what would that do? Well, it would keep some of the less mentally astute and some of the unstable elements of society from voting. But then you'd have the other party that would be screaming rape, because those are the people that would vote for them. So you're basically wanting to deprive them of their voters. Vlad Putin in Russia, was making certain threats, and then she got on to him and said, stop talking about that. Don't talk about that. We don't want anything to do with that. So what happens if some idiot fires off a weapon and it takes out a city? What do you think the leader of the country that loses the city is going to want to do? And his advisors or her advisors will advise that person to do. And then you get into a tit for tat. So The other guy fires back and takes out a city from the other country. And then you get an escalation. You know, you get an escalation. And before you know it, everything went to hell. Literally. And it is mad, you know, it is mad. There were some reports 2-3 weeks ago. There was a 3.1 seismic reading that had happened in the Middle East in the area of Syria. After Assad had left. And the Jews, the Israelis, and the Americans too, we were too, were taking out military assets. And they were using some bunker busters that would go down and wouldn't detonate until it was like 100 foot, 150 foot underground. And then it would detonate in order to take out underground bunkers that were a couple hundred feet underground. And that they were saying that there was some heightened radiation readings after this event. And they were saying it was a possibility of a low yield weapon that was detonated. That we are developing, or we have developed, and perhaps our allies have developed too, or, you know, a variable yield weapon that you can dial up or dial down the explosive content of it. So you could set it to a very low yield, you know. And it may be that, you know, that a weapon like that was used on a very, very deep, very, you know, deep bunker that they really wanted to hit something. They were trying to take out something, you know. So I don't know, you know. You know, it's just, to me, certain things are speculation. And then certain things are classified. Good night, Howie. Thank you for coming. So, you know, I have no idea what's going on. Like all those drones that the government seems to know about, but they don't want to say. And then Trump said he will release the information. They were saying that Trump wasn't getting the intelligence updates the way he should. Now they're saying they're trying to delay confirmation hearings like Kash Patel. They're not going to do his hearings till February. Why are they waiting? couple of weeks into this administration, where they'll look at it, it's like the deep state. They're trying to prevent, because they know what he's going to do. They know he's going to start letting people go. Well, that went out for a minute. Don't understand what happened there. Six in the house, 14 likes. I don't know. Sort of have the feeling like I'm being observed. I say the wrong thing, and then all of a sudden the algorithm decides to shut me down, or interfere with my, my stream. Something like that happens. It just kicked off for a minute, and I had to hit the button and reactivated it. So I don't know if you lost any of my, my comments or whatever. But it's like Big Brother. You don't want to be worried about Big Brother. I don't want to be worried about Big Brother. I don't want to be worried about being censored, I'm not saying unreasonable things. I'm not threatening anybody. I'm not doing anything destructive. I'm voicing my opinion, and I'm voicing opinions shared by a lot of people. If you didn't think sort of the way I do, I don't think you'd be on my channel. And then, and you do get copycats. People copycat. They have a beef. It's like you take people who are mentally unstable, and they decide they want to end their life, but they want to take people with them. They want to die, but they want other people to die too. They want to take a bunch of people with them. The idea of, there was a term that I've heard used repeatedly called suicide by cop. They want to die, but they don't want to kill themselves, so they'll do something to get a police officer to shoot them. And they called it suicide by cop. It's a term that they used. Somebody who wanted to end their life, but maybe because of insurance or because of life insurance or because of whatever, or they didn't want people to think that they committed suicide, so they do something other to where somebody else would take their life. They do something dangerous where they die. And that it wouldn't be ruled as a suicide. Anyway, it's been a long day. I don't know whether I'll live stream tomorrow or not. If I don't live stream tomorrow, I will do a community post to let you know. I'm tired. I've been on for an hour. I appreciate everybody who's here. I appreciate your input. I appreciate your support. Please continue. Leave a like, comment on my shorts. I've gotten some good responses on my Taco Talk News, so I'll be doing another Taco Talk News in the next few days. When I get up in the morning, I thank God for the day. You never know how many days you have. Your days are numbered. I take my medication, drink my coffee, say the Lord's Prayer, be as positive as I can, go about my business. And I appreciate everybody. So everybody have a blessed day, and thank you for joining me on Coffee Talk. Bye-bye.